Okay, hello everyone. I'm happy to see you at this webinar. I hope everybody is doing well today. And while we are waiting for other participants that are joining us, I would like to tell a bit about myself and about our company, Agiliway. My name is Bohdan Dmytryshyn. I'm CTO and co-founder of Agiliway. I have been working in the fields of software development for over 20 years. I built my experience through working on leading position for one of the biggest software development outsourcing provider in the CEU region. More than 5 years ago, with other IT gurus, we decided to create our own company, Agiliway. My role in the company comprises both external and internal processes. So I spent a lot of my time communicating with other customers to understand what their requirements and needs are. And the rest of my time, I was my team and internal stakeholders giving the tech guidance or creating roadmaps. So about the company, Agiliway provides IT solutions for different domains such as healthcare, retail, logistics, e-learning, automotive, and so on. One of our main focuses is the healthcare sphere. Yeah, we have implemented several successful projects in this domain, which is why we decided to provide you with our experience and to discuss how to distribute AI technologies drives innovation in healthcare. We will explore examples of good and effective healthcare solutions, discussing why AI technologies and machine learning nowadays are more crucial than others. My colleague Vika, project manager at Agiliway, will be with me today. And now I want to give here the virtual microphone. Vika.
Thank you. So now you all know my nickname. It's Vika, right?
Okay.
Thanks, Bohdan. I guess if you could stop screen sharing, I can share my screen. And
okay.
Thank you. And while I'm doing, yeah, and I guess you have to make me host to do that.
Yeah, sure. One second.
While we are doing these small, tiny operations on the background, I just wanted to say hello to everyone joining today. Thanks for joining, and it's an honor and a pleasure for me to be speaking in the next Agiliway webinar, this time based on or dedicated to the topic that is really close to my heart. That's the healthcare solutions with the AI, ML, and basically the digital healthcare. That is something that I can be proud of in relation to Agiliway. And yeah, thanks to Agiliway for the opportunity. And yeah, so let's start. Let's see if I can share my screen. Not yet. So Bohdan, probably you can.
Yes, sure. 1 second.
And while Bohdan is doing that, I guess we can start from the question that I encountered a year and a half ago when I joined one of the healthcare products in Agiliway and met one of the wonderful clients that I've been working with. And the question was, Vika, imagine that we have a request from a coach, a sport coach, a coach that helps for example, various businessmen to make different decisions or helps to on a certain path. We need to also help the medical providers, the expert in nutrition, the expert in fitness, and so on and so forth. And we need to do that from afar. We need to somehow we need to somehow enable the real-time experience, even without their human presence in the life of their clients, their patients, their colleagues, if that's coaching, and so on. Let's do that. How can we do that, right? How can we enable that? And, excuse me. Okay, then probably later. Yeah, so there was this request, and it was a challenge in the same time. The challenge to enable the real-time experience of a true medical provider, psychologist, coach, and so on and so forth, and make the possibility of scalable product of almost real human interaction between the provider and the recipient of a certain service. And the service, by the service, I mean, obviously, the various approaches and various tactics of support of the mental health. So that was the challenge that my team, myself and Agiliway were trying to solve, and by solving to enable our client to thrive. That was a challenge that happened personally with me in the autumn of 2019. So as you imagine, that was before COVID, before the pandemic. And we can imagine that was a huge opportunity before COVID and before the pandemic, but even after the COVID pandemic happened, that was not only the necessity, right, but it was the possibility to help, to support multiple people. It was not only the business opportunity, that was the possibility to help. And so, okay, I can share my screen now. So that was both a privilege and a hard task. And I will tell you step by step the story of our success on this path. And yeah, probably we'll have the possibility to have a dialogue, a conversation, not only my monologue, and that would be really appreciated. So in case you have any questions, anytime you can unmute or post questions in the chat, so that there is like lots of tiny dialogues or a conversation that would be beneficial to all the participants. And now I guess I'll share my screen. I hope you can see it. If yes, please say something.
Yeah, we can see it.
Good. Okay, thank you. All right, so back to the topic, that's AI-driven healthcare, the ultimate guide to adapt and thrive, version Agiliway, and the agenda as follows. We will be quickly going through the trends in healthcare and our involvement in a few of them. The healthcare numbers to understand basically what's ahead, where are we now, and to understand why and why we are here, all are interested in that topic. And for some of the participants, these numbers will probably be the known ones. For some, they will be the discovery, the epiphany, I would even say. Then next thing, we would talk about the benefits and challenges of artificial intelligence in healthcare and our example, the functionality and the value it can bring based on the, again, the example of the Agiliway experience, our best healthcare practices, and not only challenges, but also solutions and technology stack. And there will be some time for a Q&A. But again, if there are some questions, please go ahead and ask away. Don't need to wait until the very ending of it. All right.
Protecting privacy and strategic confidentiality and data analytics for responsible AI.
Sorry?
You are a PhD holder with more than 15 years of experience in the field.
Yeah, probably we'll quickly stop sharing in a second. And until we, before we start going to the next items, so basically from agenda to the very presentation, I will quickly mute everyone so that there are no disturbance. You're okay? Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so let's see, we can start from basically the first item on the agenda. This would be the trends in healthcare. And I guess I would love us to start basically with brainstorming and your input to this topic, and then we can probably compare and come to some common decisions on what is waiting ahead, what's in the future for us all, right? Working in software development, in healthcare, in solutions to help people. Yeah, so if there are any ideas, suggestions, please post them in the chat, and yeah, you can go ahead and unmute and add them to the conversation. The healthcare in numbers is going to look according to certain research conducted by various companies. So the AI in healthcare is promised to reach around $6.6 billion by the end of 2021, and probably even more, because some of the research named the number of 8. Then Internet of Medical Things market is expected to cross another big number by the end of 2021. Then another trend that was mentioned, the wearable market is also booming, and there is the number on the screen, and the promised growth by 2023. The Internet of Things is another direction that is growing in healthcare plus hardware plus various directions in software development, and the numbers are really very big, with 30% of it being dedicated to healthcare. And basically, a global medical health apps market is also growing and will be growing, and the number is in the next 5 years quite a big one. So I don't know if that matches what you were guessing, or your research that you conducted or were conducted and you were following, but the trends are still very rising and very powerfully again booming, and we can see that the we will see that the compound annual growth rate will be quite big. So the projected global digital health market is estimated to reach quite a big sum of $510.4 billion by the end of 2026, which is in 5 years. This graph that I borrowed from Deloitte analysis of digital health market 2020 and beyond basically shows percentage and basically underlines where are we moving, those who are working in healthcare solutions, who are working with healthcare visions, and so on. Yeah, these were the main additions to the healthcare trends, right? And I guess next question that I have is, and I will stop share again to ask the question. I'll probably find some volunteers to add their ideas in the chat. What do you think, besides the obvious moral and human interaction, what are the benefits and the challenges of the AI in healthcare at the current moment, for now, right, for 2021? What are the obvious benefits and challenges, and probably the ones you experienced with the products you worked, or with okay, so we have the one of the guesses, available data privacy. So this one probably the total match. That's one of the highest probable concerns, right, with working with AI in healthcare. There was another comment. I would expect that AI can help predict future health issues if not addressed. Okay, so that's another, so that is like the benefit, right, of using AI in healthcare, basically it's already being used. It's already been it's already been really profitable in various spheres. And one of the next slides from me would show the like the top, but definitely to my mind, the top known and very efficient AI healthcare products of 2020 and 2021, and some of them, like for example IBM Watson Health and some of the Google products, they are already using they already use the prediction, right, for treating cancer, for treating various other sicknesses and so on. So yeah, that's a good one. Then there is another comment. Challenges. Okay, so Paul added a few. That's the cancellation of IT projects in 2020, talent to scale, budget buy-in. Yeah, so this go into challenges sphere. Basically, yeah, probably Paul, I cannot see you, but if you are here, probably you can comment orally and add more to what you've added to the chat, if you like.
Are you asking me to comment?
Yeah, okay, yeah, now I can see.
I'm in San Diego, California, and we've seen close to 50% of our across the board special projects, as they call these types of projects, canceled due to COVID. So it's been all hands on deck in the healthcare just to kind of keep the lights on and capacity of the facilities. So that's a big challenge. Another one is we're seeing in general from a when you look at spends for 250,000 and above, it's usually a 6 to 8 month cycle time in selling. And when you look at the millions of dollars that you position, it's a multi-year budget. So there's a big budget and those types of deals take a complex sell and a lot of people involved. And then lastly, talent. We're seeing even when we get deals going, we're seeing our prototypes are working and our clients love things, but on both sides, the project side and the client side, talent, AI talent, data scientists specifically, is a big bottleneck for scaling. That's what we're seeing.
Okay, thank you for expanding. And yeah, I would like to probably counter ask to what you said. Is it only a risk, a challenge that the focus was mainly shifted to COVID, addressing COVID, or probably, and at some point it's also an opportunity because the research. Yeah, so I see that you are nodding. Probably.
I hear what you're saying. Now it's an opportunity because of the utilization and throughput. Capacities, that's, supply chain. So, but for the last year or so, we are just now seeing people saying, we need to leverage the AI capabilities to get better, data-driven decision-making and supply chains. The vaccination rollout and logistics alone is causing a great push. In America, they put up $800 billion in AI-related R&D funding. So a lot of healthcare institutions that have big research are tapping into that for AI and looking at COVID-related AI solutions, if you will.
Yeah, but I don't want to be optimistic to utmost, but I want to, from my experience working with American clients at the pandemic time, right, and addressing actually the challenges of pandemic alongside other challenges, I see opportunities in that, in a way that certain approaches that were or are being developed for COVID can later on be scaled for other, let's say, sicknesses, if we speak about healthcare, but not only. And yeah, so I agree with you. It's a challenge, but it can be transferred into a benefit, an opportunity, and I hope so. It can be done. Yeah, but another point that you mentioned, the talent to scale. Again, I agree with you, but that's probably the rules of the market would need to step into play, right? Where there is the lack of talent, but there is a need for this talent. Usually, it appears. But it's not immediate, right? It takes time. So yeah, that was a very good one. Thank you. So as you mentioned, basically possibility of a defective security and the certain social prejudices, inequality and discrimination, one of the items that were mentioned. Also, the lack of personal involvement and the possibility of a defective diagnosis. Yes, I know that there is already in many spheres the percentage of, for example, cancer prediction that is higher than the human prediction. But still, there is a high risk of of AI mistake, right? And that is something that is still there. We're still working on it, right? And we will still be working on it. And of course, that's also the something related to what Paul mentioned, that's the lack of human talent, because anyway, AI needs human overseeing after all. And we cannot just develop an algorithm and let it live. We need to adapt to work on it constantly, and it needs to get adapted to the circumstances and the data, basically. As for the benefits, so I would mention something that was really important for Agiliway products. AI in healthcare can foster accessibility, especially if we speak about the countries that do not have the possibility for like federal or governmental provided healthcare, or generally speaking countrywide, for example, certain countries in Africa and so on, can get at least some kind of healthcare with the help of AI healthcare solution. Definitely, it was mentioned that AI-driven tools can help reveal early disease risks, but on the downside, there can be some possibility of a defective diagnosis. So that's why we need the human overseeing. Definitely, AI algorithms can save time and costs. If we think about the usual traditional ways of experimenting for either sicknesses treatment, or let's say experimenting for finding the vaccine and so on, it requires lots and lots of human hours, and AI can help save time and costs. Then definitely AI is a huge help already in surgeries in various types. And what is really important, and for our case, for Agiliway case, it is a help for support of mental health. And that was our case, right? Again, it's important to know that it is not a standalone solution ready to exist without any human interaction. Of course, there is a human overseeing. Yeah, so basically there are various challenges and various opportunities with using AI. And as it grows and as the circumstances change, we see more of opportunities. And I would say it is just a statement, which is definitely not a prediction from my side, but I'm quite optimistic into the benefits being more than to the challenges. And here are the few of the products. Yeah, so another Deloitte analysis added to benefits and risks associated with this predictive analytics. But basically, I would like to move on to a few AI healthcare products that to me were a few of those that I would select out of others for their basically balance, I would say, of this solution, the technology stack, the value they brought, the scalability, and the areas that they cover, and and help, right? So that's DeepMind from Google Health. There are different products from Google that we know, but that's the one I wanted to mention as the product that, for example, is a leverage for cancer prediction and whatnot. The IBM Watson Health mentioned before, another, let's say, the parallel product that has some pros and cons, obviously, and there was a certain criticism for it. But anyway, a product that has quite powerful algorithms for analytics, prediction, and so on. A few others, I'm not sure how far they are known and how far can be they known by anyone here at the call, but some of those like CloudMedix Health and Babylon Health, these are products used worldwide. And with Babylon Health, for example, it is the case of not only a great business idea of constantly pinging the end users on their mobile phones, but also and receiving certain answers to the questions, but at the same time predicting the day or the date when this person would need certain medical assistance and even connecting them to a doctor. So this solution was really really successful in certain countries like Rwanda, on the Middle East, and in certain British cities. So it's the British startup. And others here, like Quid or Sensely, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing the last one correct, but let's say Sensely is the another startup that is avatar-based, and it's like empathy-driven platform for or intelligence for insurance companies. So basically, there are great examples of certain startups that are balancing the challenges and the opportunities. And I guess that we can hope that with correct balancing, we can thrive adapting AI like the products here on the slide did. So back to Agiliway, back to what we are doing, and back to our solutions and challenges. I'm not allowed to give the names, right? But I will try to dance around. I mentioned at the beginning of our conversation that we are working, one of the products that we are working on is related with assistance for mental health. That is the solution that had its certain beginning, so it was mostly directed at medical providers, at medical institutions, but it is scalable for enhancing and assisting various other spheres, like I mentioned before, the nutrition, fitness, coaching, and whatnot. And while being a challenge was the question, how can we replace the real-time experience of a patient with a doctor, with a medical provider via an AI, we started answering this challenge with other challenges, and basically with certain sets of functionality that can be step-by-step answering the main request, the main challenge. So first of all, definitely our choice fell to recognition, various recognition, face, voice, mimics, gestures, etc. So that gives you the idea that obviously we were working with audio and video and not only those two analytics bases or databases. The recognition helped us to track the core of the problem, the core of the metrics, the core of the alert, the core of the data that influence certain behavior of the model. Second thing that we used for our solution is the patterns translation, as I called it, basically translating via code the medical patterns to various models or training of a model. For our model, we were definitely collecting certain biodata, and that is an approach that is the the direction that many solutions take, either for software or hardware plus software, various Internet of Medical Things solutions. Then we try to use 1, 2, 3 for prediction, obviously, and prediction enabled us to assist the medical providers with prognosis, obviously overseen by the human medical providers. And the last one, seeming to be quite logical, we are dealing with software, that's obvious, but we have to remember that time and place distance solution in this case should be real time, should be almost real time, should be the replacement for the human interaction and human assessment of my physical, or in our case, mental condition, deviations, and so on. So basically what we were solving by using the fifth item would be enabling the medical institutions or individual providers to provide care basically anytime, anywhere, because it didn't matter much. I'll stop sharing it at this and ask the question on your experience, or probably your suggestions, assumptions. What else do you think could help in answering the question? How do we provide the real-time experience of a medical provider with a patient, with basically any type of end user? What are your approaches, or what are your suggestions? And thank you, Mark, by the way, for the last comment. So what are the suggestions? What can be done? What else can be done? What else can be added from your experience? How do we provide the real-time experience of a medical provider with the patient? You can unmute, you can drop a line in the chat. Please go ahead. Yeah, the chat will be, okay, we have something. Third-party caregiver input. All right, so it's, I didn't decipher your name, sorry, but would it mean a different live human input, or the other algorithm, or the other technical solution input? So if you could specify more.
Well, elderly patients usually have you know, caregivers that are taking care of them every day, but when an intervention is required, usually their input, because the patient may not be able to speak for themselves, okay, this third-party caregiver may have to, you know, provide that information.
Okay, that's a great one. Thank you. Okay, so basically that's the replacement of the data delivery, right? From what I got. So if the patient is not able to probably pronounce the answer for themselves, or they would not be able, for example, to sit or do any other physical operations, the caregiver input would be needed. Okay, so yeah, thank you. That was an important one. Probably some other ones. The chat stays here, so you can drop the ideas in the chat throughout until the end of our conversation. Okay, patient history of care. Okay, that's a good one. And basically, it's something that you will see on in one slide, right? That's the history of analytics. In our case, the history of our history, right? Our solution history that enables the model to learn better. But yes, if we can acquire the full history or any history before us, definitely that would be more helpful for our model to learn better, right? And then Mark, you said some systems are too old to the point where human interaction is required. Yep, ours, thanks God, is new one, so it's pretty new, right? And it's learning based on various analytics of data. So I have something from Dennis here. Gathering and deep analysis, yep, that's a good one. And basically that's one of the main key approaches in training the model. It's also the analytics of data. And then virtual therapy. Okay, so this is a good one, but I'll probably need to give more context. The solution is basically providing the assistance to the medical provider, right? And then the provider treats. So there is no treatment back at the point. It's mostly the solution that enables to collect the data in the real-time manner of a real human being. But that's a good one, and thank you for the hint of the further development of the product. Let me view the waiting room, and there are probably some people who need to be admitted. Okay. Yep. Then let's move on. So these were the functionality that we proposed for the solution, and then while we started developing our solution, we met with a number of challenges, and let me start sharing my screen again. These were basically the challenges that we experienced were the real-time processing, because remember, we were processing large videos and large files at the same time as the feedback was given, and the same time as multiple end users were using our solution. Location by location, I mean the distance, right? The medical provider is basically non-existent, or they can view the results of the interrogation or the results of certain session with their patient with some latency, with some time latency. That was another challenge of our solution. Definitely that's the complex algorithm that should work with the human mind, human brain, I'm sorry, and that's a real complex system. So definitely the complexity of algorithms for processing various patterns of behavior. The connectivity. Connectivity plays a crucial role, crucial role for us, because sometimes our patients, a certain part of our end users, our patients, were located in the mountains, somewhere outside of internet connection reach, but still we needed somehow to provide the services to them. Scalability is basically connected to item 1, because we were providing the same possibilities to multiple end users, patients at the same time. And consistency is finally the thing that our AI was challenged with to great extent, because while the certain mental condition or certain sickness or certain situation, right, was changing, updating, and so on, the algorithms, the model should have stayed consistent with the initial initial stage. And even if the diagnosis or the prognosis was changing, the history of the certain patient was evolving, but all the markers, all the criteria that were taken into considerations from the very start was still taken into consideration at any point of time. So these were the challenges that we had to address. And basically, what are your ideas? I will stop sharing again, because we will now move to the solutions of these challenges. What are your ideas how to solve these challenges? I will keep them on the screen for a few seconds so that you can have a look at them, and then I'll stop sharing and you can drop your ideas into the chat. All right, so there was a question about the patient confidentiality. The data is only provided to the signed contracted medical provider. So it's not provided to anyone outside the signed medical provider. And there was a question, most important is getting the patient to have full confidence and faith in your system. If they have even an iota of doubt or are skeptical, then it will be a challenge. Yeah, that's a good point, definitely. The durability, the consistency of the system, these things were the challenges that we had to solve and seem to be successful in solving. But still, coming back to my question, probably there were some ideas, so you can unmute or drop them into the chat. Or do you want me to show you the solutions without participating? Yeah, please go ahead and add any ideas. Okay, everyone being silent, I'll then go ahead and share again. The challenges will appear again, and then the solutions. So before we jump directly to the solutions, there are a few of them. I will probably go step by step with real-time processing, location, algorithm, connectivity, scalability, and consistency. And we'll say that each of the solutions that you will see on the next slide combined give the general picture of the complexness, but at the same time of the clarity of the solutions that we and the steps that we took in order to resolve and enable the thriving of this solution. So first of all, we provided a web solution for medical providers reporting, billing, analytics, and remember I mentioned that in one slide you will see the information about analytics, and the analytics being basically the analytics of on the one hand the history of the patient, the history for their medical provider, and on the other hand the analytics, various types of analytics on the timing, the time of response, the user experience, etc., etc. The web solution for medical providers was looking like that. So the provider had the possibility to see the list of their patients or other, let's say, recipients of care or services, and they had the possibility to see the dynamics, the various edge points, alerts, etc., etc., as well as see the metrics that were selected, gathered for this dynamics, for this analytics. And obviously they could manage their active, inactive users, patients, and set up various questionnaires and programs for them. Yeah, so that is one system, one side of our solution. Second side is definitely the mobile solution for our patients, employees, for coaching, etc. The solution that was basically the gateway to collecting data, the gateway to analysis, the gateway to triggering our AI, right? The mobile solution was collecting various types of data. This was, as I have already mentioned, the video, the audio, images, text, numbers, etc. And that is the way our medical mobile solution looked. So basically, the patient, an employee, any kind of interaction service delivery recipient had the possibility to provide the answers in certain form, and either provided in the form of the video response, audio response, text, image, etc. And finally, the AI model, the intricate AI for support and integration of these interaction between human medical providers or any kinds of providers and the recipients of the services. So basically, these three directions of the system were addressing the challenges that were enlisted, and they were addressed in the following way. So these are just the high levels of our technology stack. I do not have the permission to share very low level, but on the high level, we involve the functional programming stack, the language and the stack that went with it, that enabled very fast delivery, very fast prototyping, very fast experimenting. We were experimenting and using the abilities of fast delivery, fast testing using cloud solutions with Amazon, and we were obviously using Terraform for infrastructure as a code, which enabled us for, again, fast and various experiments that sometimes were even exactly at the same time of delivery, of readiness delivered, and basically proof validated against our end users. And definitely that was the combination of various existing and self-created ML and AI libraries. We were using various other stacks, and obviously the team was also experimenting and creating different libraries inside of our stack, right? And that is like the technical side of our solution. So living in the cloud with the infrastructure as a code, selecting a language to develop the model that would allow the fastest delivery and the fastest experimenting validation, right? Second side of the success of the addressing the challenges was in the certain types of processes and I guess selecting right people that would keep up, that would be able to, again, put in value fast and deliver and enjoy the process. So first of all, that was our moving lean. It was important for us not to be only agile, but to be, let's say, extra agile, right? And to be able to constantly deliver in order to learn from what we delivered, in order to basically have the constant dialogue with our end users. And as I mentioned, constant delivery, daily, weekly releases, various agile updates on demand. It wouldn't be possible without my wonderful team, the team of senior engineers with various software, generally technical experience, who could contribute to this moving lean, to this constant delivery, a bit of stress, of course, because of constant delivery, but at the same time, enjoy the experimenting mode and enjoy the taking in the customer feedback, and at the same time, shaping the customer feedback, at the same time, influencing the user experience, which is obvious because we were doing something that wasn't actually being ever delivered in such a way to such a target audience. So in a way, we were shaping the user experience and feedbacks of our customers, of our end users. And like to crown it all, obviously that was all possible. I mean, the experimenting, the constant delivery, moving lean, being in communication with our customers for improving our AI was possible because we were balancing the usual commercial delivery of the product and the atmosphere of scientific research, the atmosphere of basically researching and delivering a product, right? So these are my answers, my best practices, our best practices of the team, of Agiliway in general. And I would love to hear questions. I would love to hear like feedback on what you've got, what you've heard, what you, I don't know, liked, disliked, found useful, right? And thank you. And with that, I'll stop sharing and let's start some Q&A. Oh, okay, so there are a few questions in the chat. Thank you for the feedback, and let's jump to the questions. Yeah, that was a multi-platform solution, mobile web. The solution was to be basically targeting two sides of the play, the providers and the recipients, with the web solution being for analytics, administration, and basically enhanced providing, and the mobile solution for the recipients for collecting the data. Then there was a question about Scrum and sprints. So as I mentioned, well, basically we tried it all. We tried Scrum and Kanban, and basically we landed at Lean because Lean would be best suiting for the challenges, for the constant feedback, constant responses to either our medical providers or our end users, patients, or any recipients of the medical services. So we were moving Lean with targeting, but not yet reaching 1 day as lead time to change, but moving very closely into this direction, and building out an infrastructure opportunities to be able to release fast, to release quickly, and not to be made to pile up the functionality and to deliver it only on certain dates, like twice a month, for example, or once per month. So I would say that would be Lean, but of course we were having some meaningful chunks of time that we were planning stuff and planning our features and deliveries. They were usually a week long, so that these were our increments. Yes, I will. I think my colleague who are organizing the webinar will share the slides. Thank you for asking. And let's see, probably I missed some of the questions. No, it seems, oh, okay. If I can give an example of an agility AI healthcare solution. So that was the example, right? The multi-platform solution for providing mental health support and feedback, tracking mental health of the target groups of the patients, individual or groups, and how long did it take to have a working model. So from the day zero to the go live, it took around to the go live with MVP, with the minimum viable product. It took us around a year and 3-4 months. So it was really dynamic. It was really lean. And as I mentioned before, it was a bit stressful for the team, but they were all very senior engineers, so they survived. And obviously with MVP, we moved on to enhance and expand the product. So it's being constantly developed and enhanced as we speak. There are no other questions. Probably there are some oral questions. No, with that said, I don't know, probably there are some questions to Bohdan or it seems that no. Okay, then I'll thank you. You are a great audience. Thank you for interacting with me and, not leaving me alone. And thank you for your questions. And it will be great to catch up. And I think that as follow-up, we will share the slides. Thank you and have a wonderful beginning of the day, afternoon or evening, depending on the time zones. Thanks all.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much.